Hey guys, happy Friday. Okay, again this week, another PowerPoint presentation to get across a point that I want to talk about, and we're going to finish off with some takeaways. So we've got some positive feedback the way we did things last week. We're going to continue on. So let's have a look at what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about habits. Now you might be sitting there going, God damn, Jace, you have beat this drum to death, mate. Well, I want to explain habits in a different way. I have been reading, again, this book called Atomic Habits. I'm right in the middle of it, nearly finished it for maybe the second or third time. And something that I came across this time when I was reading it really stuck out to me, and it's that with bad habits, the immediate outcome usually feels good, but the ultimate outcome is generally bad. And it's the reverse with good habits. With good habits, you usually feel pretty bad in the first instance, but the ultimate outcome is generally pretty good. Now, let me explain with an example. Imagine if you go out every Friday and Saturday night and spend hundreds of dollars. While you're doing it, you're having fun, you're with your friends, you're doing whatever it is you do, but you're spending all your money. So as much as it might feel good in the moment, down the track, the outcomes look very good. But you imagine if you went, you know what, that's a pretty bad habit. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to stop that. It doesn't feel good when you're on social media and looking at your friends having heaps of fun, but every week you're saving hundreds of dollars, however much you were spending. So it might not feel good in the moment, but the long-term outcome, as long as you do the right things with that money, is a lot better. Now, this has come from this book, Atomic Habits. On the same page, I read that this guy, Frederick Bastiat, I don't know how you say that, he's a French guy, same. It almost always happens that when the immediate consequence is favorable, the later consequences are disastrous. Pretty full on. Often the sweeter the first fruit of a habit, the more bitter are its later fruits. So I want to give you an example. What about making lunch for work or buying your lunch? You go to the shops every day, you buy your lunch, you buy a sandwich, you buy a drink, you buy a bicky, whatever it is. Maybe it costs you $15 a day. If you change that habit and you went to the grocery store and you bought a loaf of bread and a chicken and whatever it is and however long it lasted you, it might cost you a third of that. It might cost you $5 a day. So if we have a look at the difference between our habits, if you're buying lunch every day, you don't have to be organized in the morning. You don't have to make lunch. You can just get yourself ready and roll on out the door. So, hey, happy days. But the ultimate outcome is costing you $3,500 a year to do that. What about if we actually make the effort to make our lunch? You've got to get up a bit earlier. You've got to make your lunch. You've got to be prepared. You've got to do these things. But at the end of the day, it might only cost you $1,100, saves you $2,500 a year. So one over here feels good in the moment, not so good in the long run. Over here doesn't feel great when you've got to be prepared and eat your own lunch, but down the track, you're much better off for it. Let's have a look. Remember Brad from last week? Brad who went and bought his car. So Brad's mates said, hey mate, we're going to go to Bali. We've organised this trip. Do you want to come? Now, because Brad's such a baller and he drives around in his flash car, they just assume that he's going to have heaps of money. But it's not the case. Brad spends all his money. He buys lunch every day. Bloody lives like a king. And when his mates want to go to Bali, he can't afford to go. Brad, it's not that you can't afford to go to Bali, mate. It's that you're too lazy to make your lunch. So that's the issue that we've got with habits. If it feels good in the moment, it's probably not good long term, which is my takeaway. If it feels great now, it's probably not going to feel great later. If it doesn't feel so good now, as in allocating a portion of money to long-term wealth creation, you've got to take a bit out of your budget, you've got to live a little bit less, but long-term, you're going to be much better off for it. And like I just said then, if you add the value of time to that little bit of positive habit, putting some money away, even the smallest changes, making your lunch, saving $2,500 a year, putting $200 a month into something, over time, you're going to be miles better off for it. So that's it. Another one, short and sweet, straight off the PowerPoint slides. Hope you get the point. It's not just about making your lunch. There's so many different areas where you can look at the habits that you've got. If it feels good in the moment, but it doesn't feel great long term, just have a look at that. See if there's anything that you might be able to switch up on. So, all right, guys, that's me for the week. Have a great weekend, and we will talk next week. See you later.